eradicate was that.
Yeah. I mean, that's, again, I've always tell our guys, if you flew a drone over our practice and it's national, we're preparing for the national championship game, and you flew a drone over our practice and it's game 3 in September against, East Aboga Community College, you shouldn't be able to tell the difference. And if you do, we're not where we need to be. And when you kind of get from good to great, that's the mindset that you adopt as a player, as a coach, as a staff. You can't be affected by that stuff. You just can't. That's. Y'all have a job to do, and y'all are going to write about whatever the narratives are as it comes, week in and week out. That's what you're supposed to do. But we can't be affected by that stuff. You just can't. You have to. Oh man, we're playing this team this week. All right, I'm going to really study the tape. Oh, I'm going to really be ready for the meeting. It can't matter. It can't matter. To really truly be great, that's what we say. You have to prepare and play to a standard. And that is best here. It's not about being the best. It's about doing your best week in and week out, every single day, day in and day out, regardless of who you play, where you play, what your record is. It shouldn't matter. All right, you're 5-4, you're 9-0. It ain't got nothing to do with this week. And that's how you create consistency. And that's how we've created consistency here. We've been an unbelievably consistent program for a long, long time. And we'll continue to do that, and this is a year where I think there's opportunity to kind of reteach some of those things, but that's what it takes. And I think any coach, anybody who's been consistent over a long period of time, who's really lived that, will tell you that. You can't have a different mindset. You just can't, because then you're up and down. You're up and down, and every game has to be the biggest, and I know media does not like to hear that. A lot of times y'all be like, that's coach speak, but it's really not. I mean, if you're going to be great, this is the biggest game of the year. And if y'all don't believe that, go lose it. You'll find out how big it is, right? It's the biggest game of the year. And when you create that mindset, you create consistency in your preparation. And when you create consistency in your preparation, your approach, your details, your effort, your habits, you create consistency in performance. And when you create consistency in performance, you will get consistency in results. And it's hard. It sounds easy, but it's not easy. It's really, really hard to do, especially when you're dealing with a lot of people, and especially when you're dealing with young people who in this world can be very affected by some, perception, narratives, noise, whatever it is. It's hard, but that's what it takes.
Jeremiah Trotter Jr. Had a couple sacks last weekend. What makes him such an effective blitzer of quarterbacks?
Well, all those things I just talked about, man. That guy, he is the epitome of consistency and preparation. That guy he's a worker. He loves to study the game. He studies the nuances of it, and he has great anticipation in what he does, block recognition. He's a quarterback out there that's playing at a high level, and that's kind of how I look at him. And his confidence comes from all the preparation that he puts in. Certainly, he's talented. He's got all the attributes, but there's a lot of guys that are really talented that they don't play the game like he does. And that's because of all the other stuff that you don't see as far as how this kid prepares. And he's certainly got natural instincts and a high football IQ, but he puts the work in. He's like a Christian Wilkins at linebacker. He puts that type of work and preparation in. And it's fun to see him get the results. Great leader. He sets the tone. I'm really proud of him. That was an amazing game by him.
You mentioned on the radio show kind of letting some guys lose freshman-wise, redshirt-wise as the season winds down. Who are some guys we might see that maybe haven't played a lot yet with special teams?
Well, it's kind of like being able to, is it baseball? Don't they expand their roster like in September? They get to pop the roster out, and we get to do the same thing. In that we've got guys like this guy's got 3 games left, this guy's got 2 games left, because now the postseason doesn't count anymore. So thank God you don't have to worry about that, which I think is a great thing for this world of, college football, where you're going to have guys that aren't going to be with you. There's going to be kids leave playoff teams. That's going to happen. So to be able to have more guys available at the end of the year and not have to worry about losing a year with them is a real blessing. So we've got guys, like Billings, like Kylan Webb, like Noble Johnson. I mean, Jay Haynes, we can ever get him back. I mean, we were going to play him, but now he's on that redshirt path because he hadn't played enough games. So Jarvis, I mean, there's a bunch of those type of guys. Marcus Dixon, Trey, as we talked about, that Strozier, that all of a sudden now, you've got an expanded roster. Well, now you got more bodies, and it might just be special teams. It just might be maybe you're a little thin over here, and this guy's been playing. He's playing, you can, like a Barnes. All of a sudden, he's having to play. He's playing a ton of snaps. Well, maybe we could take him off a special team or two, and that be a Robert Billings or Webb or somebody like that who now has. These are really good players that, this is game 10. It's not like they're just got here, and they've been around a little bit, and they've practiced all year, and so it just gives you a little bit more, personnel to be able to have available, especially here at home. Really the rest of the way, because we don't have a travel. We have a travel limit of 80 when we go on the road, but with South Carolina there is no travel limit since it's a non-conference game. So the rest of the way we pretty much have just a bigger pool of players, which is nice, because sometimes you're like, you got a guy, but you don't want to waste a year. So the way it's worked out, we've got several guys that fit that category that we've been trying to hold. Steph Island Green would be another one that's got time now. Ojebwe, we're redshirting Ojebwe. He's got, he's ready to roll. So just a few more options. Big Zach Owens. Ian unfortunately has been sick. In fact, he just got out of the hospital. He's really sick, but he's doing better now. But Zach's a guy that all of a sudden could hop in there, maybe give you a little depth and a little spark there too. So it's good to have CV. CV's another guy. Now we kind of know he's available as well. I mean, just really all across the board.
Where do you have Zach working at?
Guard. Yeah, he's at guard right now.
Does that adjustment include from conference championship games ahead into the postseason?
Yeah, postseason. Yeah, anything postseason, it doesn't count. Which again, that's something. It's common sense. It's great for the kids because again, and it's great for teams. I mean, if you've played a guy 4 games, and now all of a sudden you get into, let's just say it's next year and you're in the playoffs and you're, or even the teams this year that are in it. And, well, next year, because next year we got to win. You possibly got to win 4 games. That's to get it done. It's going to be a survival of the fittest in those type of games. So to be able to have some guys available and those guys not have to lose a year, I think is really good, because again, you're going to have some kids that are going to leave, and some of your depth guys are going to be gone because they want to get into school. They might play a game or two, but now they want to get into school wherever they are. So it's just going to be part of it.
Any details on Ian's sickness?
Something that he dealt with, kind of growing up and and then it just kind of came back, and he just got sick, and he's been battling for over a week, and his mom's been up here, but he did get to go home yesterday, so hopefully he's on the mend, and we're super excited about him too. We really like Ian. He's a tough, physical kid. Football is important to him, and I think we nailed it in that class. Thomas has done a good job. I mean, that was his first recruiting class. That's his first class he's brought in here, and man, Ian and Harris Sewell and Zach really like those guys, and he kind of came in and finished up with Colin Sadler and Blake Miller. So I just think we've done a good job identifying those guys, and again, Ian he's a big, tough kid that's incredibly physical. So we'll get him back going, and just but he's not a guy that's going to be available for us. He's one of those guys. We got to get him back rolling, but he's just been sick for a while. But Zach will be available.
How's Justin Haskell doing?
He's better. We'll see where he hopefully no setback today or tomorrow, and get him back. He's been out the last couple weeks, but excited. Hopefully he's ready to go. I know he wants to play.
You guys still know Antonio in practice?
No, he's just doing this rehab, and all that. I mean, he's still trending, and we're projecting him to hopefully get back at some point, before the end of the year. And same thing, if we can get to a bowl game, hopefully Marcus Tate's a guy that maybe could be back for that. We'll see how that works out. Venables is practicing. We're putting him, he's this week, the plan for him is to do scout team all week, because he really hadn't played football since the spring. So he's going to take all the reps on the scout team and see how he responds this week. So that'd be a real shot in the arm too, to have him available down the stretch and preserve his red shirt.
How about Sadler?
He was back yesterday, so he's again, Mondays aren't too taxing as you kind of get back going, and you kind of moving around a little bit after coming off of a game and things like that. But certainly him not having to play helped where he is right now. He did play field goal, but him not having to go and compete every snap, that's I think pushed him a little further along. So hopefully he'll do well today and tomorrow. And hopefully we don't have any, like last week was crazy. Tuesday we lose a guy for the year. Wednesday we lose a guy for the year. Cade really couldn't do competitive stuff till Wednesday. Tyler Brown couldn't really practice. So there was a lot going on last week. That's for sure. So hopefully we don't have to deal with all that this week.
Did that limit Cade at all in the game?
Limited him a little bit running. It wasn't a game where we knew he wasn't going to be running around a whole lot. But he's a lot better too, as well. Yeah.
Any questions virtually for Coach? Anybody else in the room?
I just have one random football question I've been asking for a while. When was it determined around college football, I see it on your team, every team, that knee pads went away? And was that did the athletic trainers say, you know what, ligaments don't have anything to do with knee pads?
When all the adults left the building, then
no skill player wears knee pads anymore.
Nobody cares. It's the craziest thing. Hey, how about the fact that guys don't wear mouthpieces, but they hang off their helmet? What are we doing? But hey, nobody cares, so whatever. I make my guys wear their mouthpieces. It's either in their mouth or don't wear one. I don't want to see. It's like a fashion statement or something. Mouthpieces flying around all over the place. I don't understand it, but nobody cares. Used to, you had to wear a mouthpiece. Used to, you had to have your knee pads. Heck, when I was playing, you had to have a butt pad. Nobody cares about the butt no more. Hey, who cares? The old butt bone, who cares? You had to wear all those things, and they would check you, But I guess it's a rule, but I don't know. Nobody seems to care. You got guys out there with their pants rolled up to the mid-thigh. But, hey.
Just because you always hear about safety, every rule is made in college football these days about safety.
Yeah, used to hear a lot of those things, but it's kind of selective now. Used to hear a lot of those things about this. That was one of the reasons we couldn't do certain things because of finals and player safety and all that. But then when it comes to some other things, that goes out the window. We want to start the season earlier, take the season longer, but player safety, it's not a concern when it comes to that stuff. But I don't know. I can't. I just coach the game, man. I don't worry about it.
is the mindset that it makes you faster if you're a skill guy if you don't have the knee
Yeah,
pads?
I mean, now they miss swag. They all want some swag. It's just whatever's happening, whatever's trending. I mean, eventually it'll go back another way. I mean, just kind of cycles and different things. Yeah, it'll cycle through. Short shorts are back in basketball, right? I mean, I knew it'd come back. I told Kath forever they'd come back. Go back to 1988, Pelham Panthers, man, there were some shorts. This thing should have been outlawed, but now they're back, So it all cycles through, but it's swag, and certainly players feel faster. And I think it's what they see in the NFL too. A lot of that stuff, forever and ever. I mean, a lot of those guys, at one time there was a time where, I remember when I was in high school, you wanted the biggest thigh pads you could find, right? Because that's what you saw guys wearing. And then as, you saw the pros like either really, really tiny pads or none, well, you wanted to go that, because you felt like it made you faster. So I was the same way in college. I mean, I had, we had to wear knee pads, but I'd have a small knee pad, and I'd take a little small knee pad, and that was my hip pad, back in those days. But just trendy and swag and whatever makes guys feel like they can play the fastest. I think that's what drives all that.
I actually have another equipment question. Someone wanted me to ask, with your hats that you wear, you were wearing a Block C Ford era, I guess, hat. Do you actually have a routine in terms of which hats you wear?
Yep.
Which games?
I start wearing the Block C in November. I have for years and years and years. Every November I start wearing the Block C. Just kind of that's what I've always done. I've always won the Paul during what we call prime time, and then I go to the Block C, what we call the championship phase of our journey. Get ready, transformation, prime time, championship, be in the fourth quarter, and that's it. I've done that for a long time.
Is there a reason why?
Just championship phase. I don't know. I've done it forever. I don't know. Nobody's ever asked me, but I've been doing that a long time.
What opinion do you have on what's happening up in Michigan? Not asking you to be judge and jury, but just the whole idea of sign stealing or advanced scouting and
You can't do it. You can't do that. I mean, it's really same opinion anybody else has. It's against the rules. You can't do it. So it's pretty simple. I mean, if you can look over there and steal somebody's signal during the game, hey, here comes a corner blitz. Well, that's on them, right? I mean, you got to. That's why everybody goes to a lot of streams and games to try to have multiple signals, those things like that. That's just part of the game. But you can't. All that other stuff. That's not. You can't do that. It's not acceptable. It's against the rules.
would you foresee college now going the way of the NFL with the electronic communication with the?
Yeah, that's going to happen. That's going to happen in the postseason this year. In that, I mean, we've already had to make decisions, and Dooley brought it to me like how many helmets we're going to buy or whatever for this before we get to the postseason. The teams will have the option, except the playoff teams. The four playoff teams are not going to be able to do it. But if you're one of the teams that gets to postseason that's not in the Final Four, you're going to have the opportunity to have helmet-to-helmet or coach-to-player communication. And there's really no rules right for the postseason. I think they're wanting to just kind of try it out. It's just whoever, if you go to a bowl game, both teams have to agree. Okay, everybody could have one, or it's just the quarterback and maybe the linebacker or safety or something like that. So that's already going to happen. I mean, that's something I've been in favor of for a long time. Same thing with tablets. I don't understand why we can't have. It's like the craziest thing ever. You go to any high school game and they all have, iPads or whatever, TVs, and you can watch a little, and now, I don't understand that. We're the only level of football, I think, that isn't allowed to do that.
You already did that.
Yeah. We were, the satellite. Yeah.
Philip Forenzo, you're telling us in the spring about trying to get in here, that he sent like 100 emails to Mike Dooley, and then eventually remembers the tryout, and you said something to him like, when I met my wife, I knew that I wanted to marry her, and when I saw you, that I knew you were going to be a Tiger, or something like that. Do you remember?
I don't remember that, but I remember seeing him after like 5 minutes. I was like, we want that guy. It was really easy. So we do two tryouts a year. We do one in August, and we do one in the spring. And he was really good. It doesn't usually take long to evaluate some of these guys. And sometimes you don't have a spot, and so we create what we call an inventory. A walk-on inventory, because sometimes you have a spot that might pop open, and you need a lineman, or you need just a skill guy, and maybe he's a running back. We're like, hey, you're going to play corner. We need a just from a scout look. But that particular year, we were looking for another snapper, and we found Casperson in high school. We saw him, and he was a guy that came in as a preferred walk-on, but we didn't know anything about Florenzo other than he was going to try out. And so Dooley kind of runs the walk-on program and coordinates all that. And so, but yeah, he was easy. He was easy to evaluate. He was really good. And so it was. I do remember him. It was a cool moment because I think he was, nervous about it. But yeah, I just told him on the spot. I was like, "Yeah, man, you're in." And so it was a dream come true for him. It was something that he had really worked hard for. Something I think he aspired to for a long time, and believed in himself, put the work in, and made it. So he's a great example to a lot of people. He put the work in. He chased his dream. He wasn't afraid to fail. He believed in himself when maybe some other people probably like, you're wasting your time. You're not going to make it. And here he is against Notre Dame, making one of the biggest plays in the game. Proud of him.
Hey, Dabo, David with ESPN. I had a quick question for you. After your comments last week about, appreciating how hard it is to win and not having your joy stolen, I'm curious because I've heard this from other coaches privately. I'm curious if you had any other coaches in football or other sports maybe reach out and just say like, yeah, man, thanks for saying that. We're all thinking this too.
You probably already know the answer to that. That's probably why you're asking me the question.
You're good at your job, Dabo, and you're good at my job apparently.
Yeah. So I would be telling you a lie, and you would know it. That was actually one of the cool things last week. Is I had a lot of coaches, like a lot of coaches that I don't talk to, that I don't even really have a relationship with, that reached out to me last week. I don't even really know what all I said, but I apparently said something that hit a nerve with some people in my profession. And so if one positive came from last week, I got a chance to meet some new people, but also got a chance to encourage a lot of coaches out there, and some very prominent people. And I had a lot of prominent current coaches, but also some very prominent former coaches that took it upon themselves to get my number and reach out to me last week. And I really appreciated that. It meant a lot, to me, and then again, had an opportunity to just hopefully encourage and uplift some guys that I think, are kind of in the fight in where they are in their career right now and what's going on in the world and in this profession. So that was a cool opportunity that the good Lord gave me last week, and thankful for that.
Any other questions for Coach? All right. Appreciate it, Coach.
Okay, appreciate it.
Jeremiah Trout will be first up at noon.